Venus should have been a second Earth, almost the same size, the same rock, born beside us around the same sun. By every measure that should matter, it began as Earth's twin, and yet it became the most hostile world we know, a place where the air would crush you, cook you, and poison you all at once in seconds. This is how a near twin of Earth turned into hell, and why that difference may be one of the biggest questions in planetary science. Let's start with how alike they are. Venus is about 95% of Earth's width and over 80% of its mass, with surface gravity so close you'd barely notice the difference standing on it. Same rock, same metal, same inner solar system. It's our nearest neighbor and the brightest planet in our sky, the dazzling morning and evening star. On first impressions, Venus and Earth look like sisters separated at birth, and for a long stretch it may have been a living world, etc. Climate models suggest early Venus could have held liquid water, shallow oceans, a gentler sky, for maybe billions of years. Then the sun slowly brightened, the oceans began to evaporate, the water vapor trapped more heat, and the warming fed on itself until the seas boiled away and the water leaked off into space for good. Two blue worlds side by side, and only one of them survived. Now time itself breaks and spins so slowly that a single day, one full turn, takes 243 Earth days, but it circles the sun in only 225. The day is literally longer than the year. It's the slowest spin of any planet, and it turns backwards, so from the surface the sun would rise in the west and set in the east, a sunrise in reverse taking nearly 4 months to cross the sky. Stranger still is the sky above it. The solid planet takes 243 days to turn. The whole atmosphere races around the world in just 4. Scientists call it super rotation, and they still can't fully explain it. Cloud-top winds scream around Venus at about 360 kilometers an hour, 50 times faster than the ground beneath them. The surface barely moves. The sky is one endless storm. Then the heat, the part that actually kills you. The surface sits around 465 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, everywhere, day and night, all year long. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. And here's the twist that gives the whole mystery away. It's hotter than Mercury, even though Mercury orbits twice as close to the sun. Venus isn't an inferno because of where it sits. It's an inferno because of what it's wrapped in. That wrapping is an atmosphere of almost pure carbon dioxide, and there is a crushing amount of it. The surface pressure is about 92 times Earth's, the force you'd feel nearly a kilometer deep in the ocean. It would flatten an unprotected spacecraft. The Soviet Venera landers had to be built like submarines just to reach the ground, and even then, the longest any of them survived was about 2 hours before the heat and pressure destroyed it. So how do we even know what that surface looks like? Not with cameras, the clouds are far too thick for light. In the early 90s, NASA's Magellan spacecraft spent 4 years sweeping Venus with radar, timing the echoes to map the ground beneath. It charted 98% of the planet. Almost every view you have ever seen of the Venusian surface is that radar data, not a photograph. We mapped an entire world in the dark, and the surface is anything but dead. In 2023, scientists re-examining that old Magellan data spotted a volcanic vent that changed shape and grew over just 8 months. The first direct evidence that Venus is volcanically active right now. It's covered in more volcanoes than any other world we know. Vast lava plains, towering shield volcanoes, molten rock still pushing up from below. Beneath the acid sky, Venus is alive with fire. High above the furnace float the clouds. Not water, but sulfuric acid. So reflective they make the planet shine, and so deep they hide the surface completely. Acid rain even falls from them, though it boils away long before it lands. Those clouds, with all that carbon dioxide, are the murder weapon, a runaway greenhouse where sunlight gets in and the heat can't escape, until the whole planet glows. The same physics that keeps Earth alive, pushed past the point of no return. And on the highest mountains, something almost beautiful. Radar shows that Venus's tallest peaks, like Maxwell Montes higher than Everest, are coated in a bright reflective layer. The leading idea is a metallic frost. Heavy metals like lead and bismuth evaporate in the scorching lowlands, rise as vapor, and condense onto the cooler summits as a glittering metal snow, falling only where it's just barely cold enough to settle. For decades the story seemed over. Venus is dead, but it keeps refusing to be boring. In 2020, astronomers reported a possible trace of phosphine, a gas linked to life, high in the clouds, in a narrow band 50 kilometers up where it's almost Earth-like, around 30 degrees and near sea level pressure. The claim is hotly debated and unconfirmed, but it dragged back a question nobody ever expected to ask about a place like this. Could something be alive up there? Which is why Venus matters far beyond being a strange neighbor. It's the clearest example anywhere of how an Earth-sized, once water-rich world can lose everything to its own atmosphere. That's why a new wave of missions is heading back, NASA's Da Vinci and Veritas and Europe's Envision, to read Venus like a case file. How does a twin of Earth tip over the edge, and could it ever happen here? Venus isn't just a curiosity, it's a warning, written in acid and fire parked right next door. So here is the whole impossible picture. A day longer than its year. A sky spinning 50 times faster than the ground. Air that would crush a submarine, clouds of acid, snow made of metal, volcanoes still erupting, and a surface hot enough to melt lead. Venus and Earth began as twins, and only one of them is still alive. Too strange to be real.